All right, folks. Have you been paying attention to Venezuela? They just had their election and yeah, it's here, I'm going to just let you watch. Now, I will apologize because due to copyright, the music in it, I did have to mute it, but you'll understand when you see it. You'll get the gist of it. All right, so just to get you caught up, the socialist dictator Maduro wins the Venezuelan election, which they're calling it a sham election. Um, the CNE, Venezuela's National Electoral Council, declared the socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro the winner of Sunday's sham presidential election, granting him a 6-year term. So they're saying this it. Well, I'm gonna read it straight from. I'm reading from Breitbart, and I'll post the link in the description for you to go check out on your own. Um, but they're saying that the results heavily contradict the exit polls and the preliminary poll tallies um, that suggested an overwhelming victory for Venezuelan opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, who was the only legitimate opposition candidate allowed to be on the ballot against Maduro. So the videos that you saw were the Venezuelan residents, citizens who are protesting. They're tired of the socialism. They're There's a saying: you can vote your way into socialism, but you cannot vote your way out. And the fact that there was a huge turnout. Um, Says footage showed a high voter turnout in Venezuela's voting centers. Only 69,000 Venezuelan migrants out of the millions of Venezuelans who fled from socialism were able to vote on Sunday as a result of the Maduro regime imposing difficult and often impossible to comply with requirements for them to update their voter registration. Um, Exit polls and footage published on social media show that Gonzalez had obtained overwhelming victories against Maduro in each voting center as it finished tallying its votes, leading to early celebrations from the Venezuelan electorate. However, the head of CNE, Elvis Amoroso, addressed, this, addressed the country in the early midnight hours of Monday to declare Maduro the winner of the sham election, with 51.2% of the vote against Gonzalez, 44.2%. So, not every vote had been counted, but they had already declared Maduro as the winner. Um, we won, and everyone knows it. We want to tell all of Venezuela and the world that Venezuela has a new president elect, and it's Edmundo Gonzalez. Gonzalez obtained 70% of the votes, and Nicolas Maduro 30%. This is the truth. We have 40% of the tally sheets. We do not know where Cini got the others from. Edmundo Gonzalez obtained 70% of the votes and Maduro 30%. It is the election with the highest participation in history, she continued. The regime knows what happened and what it intends to do. The whole international community knows it, even those who were once allies. So they just had a rigged election, despite what the actual vote tally came out to be. They came out and basically told them, yeah, no, we're not going to let your accounts vote. We're going to give your votes to the communists. We want you guys to suffer. We don't want you to be free. You're going to live under a regime whether you like it or not. So they were out there celebrating. They thought they won, or they knew they won, only to have them come out and tell them no. And then Maduro immediately celebrated his victory, claiming there will be peace, stability, and justice in Venezuela. Last week, the socialist dictator threatened a bloodbath if he did not win on Sunday. He's going to go after those that opposed him. He's going to go after citizens that opposed him. You know, that tore up his. They may have torn up his flyers or whatnot. They may have come out and spoken out against him. He's saying he wants peace, love, and understanding, and I have the power you have given me and the civil military police union to promote the most powerful and great national dialogue of economic, social, cultural, political, moral, and spiritual understanding. He's going to force them into compliance. So, and then we got our gracious Secretary of State Anthony Blinken on Maduro announcement election victory. Let's see what he has to say.
My colleagues will indulge me for just 1 minute. I want to speak quickly to the elections that just took place in Venezuela. We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity. We've seen the announcement just a short while ago by the Venezuelan Electoral Commission. We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people. It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay, and that the electoral authorities publish the detailed tabulation of votes. The international community is watching this very closely and will respond accordingly.
Now, Blinken, those words are falling on deaf ears. That communists don't listen, and plus, I really don't think you mean it anyway, given who you are. But like the people of Venezuela, they're in need of serious prayers, folks. Like, yes, they voted for this. It sounded like a good idea at the time. They got it, and they are deeply regretting it, like horribly regretting it. And now they're running down the street. They're running from the cops right now. Right now, literally right now. Watch. That's scary, folks. And to think that we're not too far from that ourselves. I mean, I've already expressed it more times than I can count. I'm not the only one. There are many others out there that have said the same thing. And I'm just going to touch real quick on it. This is what we're going to have if you want to give Kamala your vote. If you want her to win, this is just it might not get that extreme quick, but she's already stated that she's coming after the Second Amendment. And then, of course, Biden just came out earlier with trying to or wanting to impose term limits on Supreme Court justices, but nothing for those in Congress. It's crazy. And this just there's people think that it's a good idea and they want to say, well, it's not fair this and everyone should be equal. That's not how life works. And then the government comes in and they tell you, hey, trust us, we can do it better for you and we'll be better to you. And then you give away your freedom. Once you give that freedom up, you're literally fighting for your lives. Like it's like I said, it might look and feel good for a little bit, but these little luxuries that you like to have now, these people were protesting. Okay, they were protesting the outcome of an unfair election. They don't have that freedom of speech. Okay, they're out there, but then what happened as soon as they were right there running from the cops, trying to find shelter, getting I don't know what was exactly popping. I didn't see anyone falling over, so I'm not sure anyone was actually hit with anything. Looks like maybe some smoke grenades or whatnot, deterrents rather. But still, like, y'all really want that? You don't want to be able to have the freedom to pick and choose how you live, where you want to live, what you do, how you want to do, of course, within legal and proper reason, of course, moral, but morally, but regardless, like, this is now, this is live, this is going on. And in case you doubted that people actually want socialism, watch this little clip for you. There's more than you think. It's quite literally sad. And and they have the option to go move to these socialist countries, but yet they remain here. How does that make sense? Class War 2024, fight the rich and feed the poor. That is what they are chanting. Also, giving a shout out to Info Savage. I'll put a link in the description so you can check out his content. He gives great content, highly recommended. Now, I just showed you two different clips. Okay, you have the people of Venezuela who were protesting because the election was rigged. They want out of communism. They want freedom. And then here in the US, we have free people. Free people. They have the freedom to go and live in a communist country, yet they prefer to stay here and protest for the US to become a communist country. Let me take you a little further. Those Venezuelans and others who are living in communist countries, they flee to find freedom and they flee to the US. I mean, there's other countries that they flee to as well, but a lot of them see the US as a beacon of hope. They believe in the American dream, so therefore they fight, or not necessarily, well, they come to the US. They immigrate. A lot of them doing it legally and others are doing it illegally. And we're not going to go down that hole, but regardless, they're fleeing here to escape that torment, that destruction, that unhealthy lifestyle. They want more from themselves. They actually value their livelihood enough to leave and seek something better. But then we have a bunch of brainless, just demanding something. Just move then. Go to Venezuela. Go ahead. You have your demands. They've already met them there. Leave the rest of us here in the US to have our freedoms, to have our freedom of speech, religion, Second Amendment. And, you know, you have options. But doesn't it just seem like mind boggling how that's working out, how that's going? You literally have them fighting to live, wanting a better life, and then you're over here saying, "Hey, we want what you got." And they're actually telling us, or telling those that want communism, socialism, that no, you do not want that. Trust me. It is not the butterflies and rainbows that you believe. Like, why aren't they listening? Why won't they listen? Because they've been brainwashed. And they believe all of the lies that is going to work out, that those countries did it wrong, that those countries had it wrong, that they're not doing it right. No, 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 no. That couldn't be further from the truth. Now, I found this very informative video from PragerU. I'll drop a link in the description from them as well. Everyone whose clip that I've used today, I will give them their shout outs. I will drop the links for them so you can go check them out. All of them have great content. They are very well informed. Trust them to give to give correct information. So I will do that. But PragerU is awesome, and I do recommend any and everyone to go check them out. But I'm gonna show you this clip and then wrap it up.
People.
Once there was a South American country with a promising future. It had a functioning democracy, a rapidly developing economy, and a growing middle class. All the important indicators, including education, healthcare, and foreign investment, were pointed in the right direction. It was far from perfect, but the mood was hopeful, and with good reason. But now all that promise is gone. The country is a failed state, a hollowed-out shell of its former self. Services like power and water are sporadic. The most basic consumer goods, from bread to toilet paper, are in chronically short supply.
Now, just to remind you, the shortages that we experienced during COVID, multiply that by 1,000,000. Still don't know why people were trying. I don't even know. I don't even understand. I don't think I understand how the toilet paper became so hard to, regardless, like, everyone wanted toilet paper instead of actual medicine. But anyway, just think about that. And this is how they're living daily in Venezuela.
Crime has skyrocketed. Freedom of the press is almost non-existent. Democracy has been replaced by a virtual dictatorship. The country is, I'm sorry to say, my beloved Venezuela, a place in which my family has deep roots. I can tell you what happened to it in one word: socialism.
Now, everything that she just mentioned, does that not sound familiar? I'm telling you, we are not far. We are not far at all.
In 1999, then candidate for president Hugo Chavez promised to lead the people of Venezuela to a socialist paradise. His theme was Esperanza y Cambio, hope and change. Venezuela is a nation of great wealth, Chavez said, but it's being stolen from its citizens by the evil capitalists and evil corporations. This wrong would be righted, he assured the voters, if they elected him. And they did, to their everlasting regret. Chavez drew inspiration from his mentor, Fidel Castro. Like his mentor, he enjoyed giving speeches that sometimes lasted as many as 7 hours. He even gave himself his own weekly television show, where he would spontaneously break into song. Here's a rule: when your nation's leader starts singing on national television, you're in trouble. Under Chavez, the government of Venezuela took over industry after industry. The government, he assured everyone, would run these businesses better than private enterprise, and the profits would be shared by the people. With great fanfare, he tore up contracts with multinational oil and gas companies and demanded that they pay much higher royalties. When they refused, he told them to leave. They did. His image was burnished by Hollywood celebrities who flocked to see the great work he was doing, taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. Progressive politicians from the US and Europe also praised him lavishly. Here's another rule: when Hollywood celebrities visit your country to praise your leader, you're in trouble. When the leader sings on national television and is praised by Hollywood celebrities, you're doomed. Socialism always works in the beginning, so people are fooled in the beginning. It's easy for governments to confiscate money, but eventually, there's no more money to confiscate. In the case of Venezuela, I mean that literally. People.
And from the late Margaret Thatcher, if you don't know who she is, I highly encourage you to go and check her out. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. So they're talking about taxing the rich, making the rich pay. The rich can leave. The rich will leave and they'll take their money with them. And then what? What do you have then? Whose money are they going to come after? Are y'all listening? Are y'all paying attention to this? Do y'all see where this is going? Do you see how this ends? Like, it's basic, is plain and simple, is black and white, is not hard to understand. You're just too hard-headed, or not you guys, but those are too hard-headed, too lazy to understand.
I mean that literally. People who could get money out of the country did. Many left the country altogether. Nearly 2 million, according to Venezuelan sociologist Tomás Baez. The wealth creators continue to create wealth, but they created it somewhere else, Miami or Madrid, and other places around the world. When Chavez first ran for president in 1999, he said he would leave in 2 years if people weren't happy with him. But, like Castro, Chavez never had any intention of giving up power. He died in office in 2013, replaced by his vice president, Nicolás Maduro. Maduro is Chavez without the charisma or the voice. The country is now a pariah, shunned by the world and isolated. It's so bad that many international airlines refuse to fly there. People stand in lines for hours just to get food. Sometimes they walk away empty-handed. A recent survey found that 75% of Venezuelan adults lost weight in 2016, an average of 19 pounds. This national weight loss program is known cynically as the Maduro diet. Still, Maduro holds onto power. Opposition leaders and journalists who report the truth are jailed. Venezuela is a cautionary tale. Once a country goes down a socialist path, there's no easy way back. And the longer a country stays socialist, the harder it is to reform it. Venezuela has been socialist for 2 decades. If you don't think it can happen here, whether here is the United States or Europe or anywhere else, you're fooling yourself. When people get used to depending on the government, no matter how poor they remain, that dependency is hard to break. That's why you should never buy the socialist lie. Socialism is a drug, and like a drug, it feels great at first, but eventually it will ruin your country, just like it ruined Venezuela. I'm Debbie D'Souza for Prager University.
All right, folks, I'm out. Again, please hit that like, share, and definitely subscribe. I hope you got a lot of good information today, and God bless.